mute us here. Welcome to the show, everybody. Don't wait for the renewal. One of those days, it's coming in here. It's coming in hot. Thursday night football, opening night of the season here. Let me fix the shirt. We were back in the
How about them Cowboys?
Well, let's see how they do here. It's our first time on LinkedIn Live here after 3 years of putting out content regularly. Still have not approved me, but they did approve Craig, so we're going to try Craig tonight. We'll see how
3
it
years.
goes.
Wow, that was
Over
fast.
3 years. We're past 3 years now of going live. We're using the StreamYard platform. We used to use custom platforms that were tens of thousands of dollars. We figured it out back then. Everybody's catching up. I guess we got to send out invites to get people to show up on LinkedIn Live, even though we're a nighttime show here. But let's get to it. Show sponsor, none other than Virtue Health Consortium. Check us out, virtuealliance.com. Got your renewals coming in. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about renewals for the clients. Winter is here. The renewals are looking like bombs. It looks like, bombs are going off. What was it? Bombs in whatever that country was. But 30%, 50%. I got a call from a prospect the other day out of the blue, calling me from a referral, 100% renewal from Blue Cross.
Woo!
Yay. I said, you get whacked? She sounded a little, anxious. I said, you get whacked this year? How about 100%? I said, holy shit, that's a good one. But, hey, good news for guys that are out hunting, especially guys that are doing self-funded. Let us take a look at that renewal for you, because there's plenty of room now in those fully insured increases. So we're excited. Now's the year to look at self-funding. There's so much opportunity, so much, room to make them as groups self-funded. And but that's enough of the pitch in here today. So what we want to talk today about is don't wait for the renewal. A lot of you out there, and myself as an advisor, we would just wait till renewal time, and you can't be doing that anymore. You got to be on your toes here. You got to be out in front of the clients, letting them know what's going on all over the year. I mean, I got a tough renewal right now that we're working on, and when was the last time you talked to the client? Oh, 4 months, 5 months ago. Do they have any idea how bad their claims are running right now? Like, do they even understand this? No. So you're going to go in with this massive increase, right? Not massive, but a big increase in the self-funded world. And, just show it to them and say it is what it is. They're just going to remind themselves of, this is what you said wasn't going to happen. This is going to happen every year, just fully insured, It's going up, right? No, you've got to massage them throughout the year, whether it be 6 months out, 7 months out, you're doing your mid-year review, or just as claims come in, bombs come in. Hey, look, especially this group, I think one of the owners had a surgery, $80,000 surgery. Just want to let you know, aware of it. Claims come in, $80,000 paid, right? I mean, you've got to be getting out there and letting them know all along on what's going on, and instilling confidence and certainty. What do you say, Craig? Into your client.
Well, I say that tonight's show's brought to you by Bang, my juice of choice. You touch on something. We've been warning brokers for months that, winter's coming, and you could expect a lot of big renewals out there. And so the question is really simple. I mean, do you do the usual dance? You take the easy road out and you wait for the renewal, and, stuck. You stick your client with reacting to the renewal like every other year before. And you've got to recognize that this year in particular, after last year's COVID, and very unusual. So there's a lot more competition from every possible direction imaginable. And what that means is you can't afford to wait for the renewal. You need to be out there educating your client on the fact that there is hope. There are successful tactics and strategies to control healthcare costs, and that you can create a long-term plan for them, as opposed to just reacting every year to another rate increase and then figuring out how to do the dance to, get them to do the usual things like reduce benefits, shift costs, and limit access to care, which is everybody's done for 10 years. So that's the game, is recognizing that you have competition everywhere. The competition's talking to your client. And just imagine the conversation. It's like, well, to tell you how effective, our planning is. When we see our customers outside of the renewal, we're reviewing what the plan's going to be, because we've put them on pace, we've put them on track to have a road to go down where they have choices, they have options, and the impact of those things will be, most of the time, an ability for them to control their costs. Have you seen your broker? No. When do you normally see them? Well, usually they show up with this, rate increase and a spreadsheet of options, and we usually stay the same, and we just reduce benefit shift cost, or go to a high performance network.
High performance, yeah. Again, we're going to talk self-funding, because that's what we do here. The goal to take them self-funded is to manage risk, let them know going all along. You don't just set it and forget it. That's not how you manage a self-funded health plan. The key word is manage. That's what all these programs are designed to do. The Cignas, this, a lot of the guys, started out with the training wheels of Cigna ASO and Blue Cross ASO, all these turnkey solutions, and they think, well, I'll just, just going to set it, and renewal time, we'll see what it looks like. I can't do anything anyway, John. So what am I supposed to do here? Well, I mean, that very well may be the case, but that's not really what you got to do here with these groups, because you got to keep them engaged, especially when things aren't going well. You got to let them know. I mean, I let my clients know what's going on the claims if they're running great. Like, look here, Craig, you told me this a long time ago. We're in a business where we've got to go in and ask for withdrawals consistently, right? So it's nice to make a deposit. So if I can go to see a group and I can show that I mitigated a big claim and saved them 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, I want to make sure they get in front of the owner and they know that that's happening. And if they don't, then you're just like everybody else, and you're back in the rate play game. And that's what you're trying to get them out of when you're going self-funded. Now, this is more work. You're hearing this. Well, shit, there's a lot more work, John. Well, guess what? You can charge them more money for self-funding, and you're saving them money. The net cost is less, right? And so charge more money. It is a lot more work. Don't get tied up in the whole comp disclosure and this and that, and everybody else is at this. Well, if they could give the results that you can give, then you can, charge whatever you want, and they can charge what you're charging.
If all that mattered was money, that's what happens. Too many people, they shop with their own wallet instead of their client's wallet. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, there's a lot of brokers I would never hire to sell Rolex watches, because they would have no idea how to do it, because they only wear Timex. Or I may be even dating myself. I don't even know if they're around anymore. But the point is, the client who owns the company showed up in a $100,000 car and is often wearing a $20,000 watch. And they're buying, they didn't go for the cheap payroll. Heck, they're paying for Workday, which is high end. And so you can't just assume that it's always about the cost and the price. You see, in the absence of value, price is all that matters. So if you can actually produce measurable outcomes, it's like John said, you can charge more money, because it's a heck of a lot more work to put your clients in a position to win the game of healthcare. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot more, it can be more rewarding in many, many ways, not only for the client and all of their employees, but for you and your team.
Yeah, I mean, get out a renewal. I mean, we should start sending out renewal emails well in advance to let them know, hey, look, it's that time of the year again as well. Even past this stuff is like, look, here's the timeline to expect. It's not going to sneak up on you. Here's when we should receive renewal. Here's when we're marketing. Here's what everybody's doing behind the scenes and already working on. You should expect to hear from this. Let's get a date on the calendar, 6 days from now, to prepare for this stuff. And you can get way out ahead of it, and it puts the mind at ease, right? Think about tax time. Okay. One thing that I don't like is people that I used in the past were, reaching out to me towards tax time, like right at the end, like last minute. And I'm like, you know what, isn't it? Yeah, it's my taxes, but isn't it your responsibility to remind me? Isn't that what I pay you to do, to make sure that I do it on time? Well, no, it's always last minute. And I feel like, Well, shit, I'm panicking, I'm worrying. Now, if they sent me a thing saying, hey, we're working on it behind the scenes, we're cleaning up the books, blah, blah, blah. We're going to set a call. Let's set a call this time. We'll have plenty of time to do it if anything comes up. Now I'll put my mind at ease. Now I don't need to take calls if accountants, God forbid, accountants were cold calling, right? If accountants were cold calling, I wouldn't be taking their call, right? I wouldn't be interviewing other accountants because I already know that my accountant has everything set up and has a timeline, what to expect. Boom, 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 boom. I don't want to make more work for myself. He's already got it taken care of. And even if you were doing a shit job, you still probably retain the account because of that. We say, Craig.
You bring up a great analogy of the accountants who are historians, right? They don't call, they don't write, they just, do you want me to do taxes again this year? And, you send me your stuff and I'll tell you how much you owe, or I'll tell you what your refund is, as opposed to somebody who's a tax planner. And brokers are the same way, right? I mean, if all you have is fully insured business, it's pretty hard to be a tax planner if all you sell is fully insured business. If you want to be in a position to control costs and have your client win so that the employees can keep their pay raises every year because they don't have to turn around and have that money taken away from them because they shift a new contribution cost to the employees because they have no idea how to control the costs. There's just so many different facets to healthcare and the downstream impact for the corporation, the financials, the employees, their family members, their standard of living, their quality of life, the quality of healthcare they receive. You're not just selling insurance. Now, some of you are, but some of you are, and you want to be, and you want to learn about how do I become the equivalent of a tax planner? Because you know what? Tax planners make more money than historians do. And the days of, back in the days when I was retail, I mean, those days are over. You can't just continue to sell, we have 300 fully insured groups. Those days are disappearing.
Yeah, those are the old days, my friend. It's a funny point you made. A client driving a $100,000 car, $20,000 watch. I mean, the guy I had a call with 2 weeks ago, he said to me, look, when I talked about comp, he's like, well, look, is there any way that I can pay you more money so I'm at the front of the line and my employees don't have to wait? I go, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said that, that we're more important. I go, absolutely. I like to pay to get to the front of the line too. Somebody told me that. Right. And so the guy's asking, can I pay you more money?
Yeah.
I mean,
how do I buy your attention?
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're doing a great job for the client, they just want to know next year. I mean, let's face it. We've all been there. You have an unbelievable year or 2 or 3 in a row. And what do the clients ask you many times? John, how can we save more money? how can we get more juice out of this?
Yeah. And look, that's a great point. Right. And we could talk about that for a minute we're going to keep it short today because Cowboys game's on.
Stop
watching football. Hopefully there's no baloney this year, but we'll see. Tom Brady's playing. Cowboys are playing. Let's see. Playbook. Talk about this. Football. You got a playbook, right? Maybe you should have a playbook that states to them, here's where you are. If you want to do better, here's the ideas. Here's the next step. If we implement this, we can get a decrement of this on claims. If we get this, we do RBP. We do this, direct contracting, CIRA. We put a sourcing whatever it is, you give them a playbook and go, look, here's what else we can do. If you want to move the needle, these are the next step. We go to a regional, we implement a steerage plan. These are all options that we've laid out for you if you want to keep going. If you don't want to push the envelope here, then expect this to look what it looks like with trend next year, right? And maybe there's some spike claims, maybe it's your bad year, maybe this was your bad year. But every 4 to 5 years, I'm seeing it more in small group. 4 years, bad year. Okay, so be prepared for them. Now, if you have the right consortium in place, stop loss in place, you don't have to really worry about that. But that's another story.
What I call that, John, is you've got to be willing to challenge your client and have a challenging conversation in order to really get beyond and below the surface. And so, when you talk about, well, you realize if you don't do anything, then these are going to be the consequences. And then the consequence of that will be, based on what you told me, this is going to happen. Are you going to be okay with that? Right? Is the next guy through the door with a story about what I want to talk to you about going to resonate with you because the timing's right, and then I'm going to get fired because you didn't want to do anything today? You can go a lot of different directions, but you just have to be able to get the client to I think, I call it, you got to give them hope, because for the most part, most companies, they just thrown their hands up, and the CFO, the owner, or the small groups, they're like, God, there's nothing you can do. And the bigger groups, I mean, the C-suite is literally almost oblivious and completely out of the loop as to what's going on with the second or third largest operating division of the company called healthcare, and they don't know anything about it.
Clueless, not a clue. Yeah. Look, I think, you know what, we were going to talk this time. We were going to talk about the first meeting. We'll have to get to that. Maybe that next week's show. Make a note. First meeting talk. First meeting questions. Opening. Right. I mean, shit. People are out hunting right now, guys. You better be defending your accounts. You better be marketing them, and don't just market them to market them. Make sure you own with a story. These people are fed up. I'm seeing brokers that we're helping win cases right now, transitioning them to self-funding. People are fed up. They're putting their hands up. I mean, even that guy that's willing to pay me more money and makes a lot of money, he's sick and tired of the bullshit, and he wants to move self-funded, even though they got a boatload of money, just because he's, again, frustrating with seeing the same story in the same hamster wheel every year.
Yeah.
I mean, I even got brokers right now that are prospecting 3 hours apart from each other. They're both prospecting on the same group that they're not the incumbent on. So people are hunting and calling. We know the hunters. Wow. They're both in the Hunters Club, so I guess I shouldn't find it surprising. But point of the story is get out there. But those guys that are sleeping at the wheel, they're not paying attention. They're not watching the show.
Don't wait, because you got to remember, somebody's talking to your customer, and I mean, we've talked on our other show. I mean, the competition is everywhere from places you wouldn't even expect, and so you've got to understand that they're telling them a story. They don't have the history that you do. So, if you catch people at the right time, a lot of business is timing. And if you catch them at the right time, they're open to hearing new ideas. If those new ideas should be coming from you. So don't take your clients for granted. Give them something meaningful to think about. They may not do anything. They may move slowly. Some may pull the trigger, right? I used to call it, what did I call it? You could be incremental on one end of the continuum all the way to transformational. So the question is, maybe you want to be incremental on premium contributions, but you want to be transformational on fully insured to self-insured, right? Or it could be any one of a myriad of things, but those are conversations that you should be trying to engage your customers with, because if you're not, somebody else will.
Talk to me about that incremental, transformational. What does that look like? I like that. I wrote that down. Might add that to mine.
Oh yeah. I years ago, I had the chart I'd make up and have the years across there. And then my premium contributions, funding strategies, plan designs, pharmacy, and we talk about different solutions available, right? Working spouse spend management, wink, wink. We talk about different tactics and strategies available based on, do you want to have an incremental change or a transformational change? And, you just could kind of dial it in on what's your priority, what initiatives do you think, based on the other things going on in your lives. Sometimes I think brokers forget, all of our customers, they all have a lot of competing demands. And so you have to keep that under consideration. So while, I can remember going back thinking, my God, I just, we talked about this great option and they could save $500,000 a year, or, whatever it was. And they didn't do anything. It's like, well, because we either let them take the easy road out, or they just have other priorities and they didn't create this as an initiative this year. But so when you go through all the options, you can say, look, you can't eat the elephant in one bite. So let's just unpack this and say, what, depending on the culture and the timing of it, what's the one thing, if you could get it done, what would you want to get done this year? And then you go down your list and you go, okay, are we going to do incremental? We're going to do transformational. And use whatever language you want, but I remember back in the day, that's the kind of conversation I try to have.
I like it. I'm gonna add that. I was taking notes. I always take notes here. Good ways to put it through here and get it over across to the client. Storytelling is always a good one here. What else we got? What else we want to talk? What I had written down here? Competition. We already talked about that. Yeah. I mean, if you just instill confidence, certainty in them, I think you'll do pretty well. Give them a timeline, what to expect. Just you can go in and buy these PowerPoints. I just bought one for $80. 2 million PowerPoint templates. You can do a timeline thing. Get the one template, create a timeline specifically for 1/1, edit the dates, put their logo on it, send it out. Here's our plan for you. Here's a template email. Do it for each one. Have your account manager do it. Send it out. Put their mind at ease. Maybe they don't take the call from the outside broker. Protect yourself a little bit as much as you can.
Yep. Everybody knows. I mean, there's lots of ways to do it. Everybody's not an A client, right? You got A clients, B clients, C clients, and your ability to scale a decent response and active management for your customers is a way that you're going to keep your biz and make more money. So you just got to figure out what's your priority, what kind of lifestyle do you want to lead. Of course, if you're already happy, like many brokers are, then you're going to do what you're going to do. That's why I think we said in the notes for the show tonight, it was like, look, sometimes we just need to be reminded of what works because it's the right thing to do. We're not talking about anything that's, life-changing here or something that people haven't thought about or already know. But sometimes we don't do the things that we know works. And so tonight's show, short, quick, but just a reminder that if you're not paying attention, somebody else is to your customer.
Yeah, this isn't rocket science. It's just, hey, a reminder, get out and do their couple ideas. If you're watching in, share some ideas below in the comments. I think it's pretty quiet tonight when you get too much marketing out. But if you're listening on the podcast, check this out. We're going to be going live on LinkedIn soon, live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, every Thursday, 8 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Don't wait for the renewal. Final thoughts, Greg.
That's it. Hey, I can't wait to watch the GOAT, Tom Brady, play tonight.
Remember last year after like 2 games, they're like, oh, he's done. He should retire. He's terrible.
Yeah. The recency bias of millennials and digitals knows no bounds, right? There's just a certain lack of perspective when you have, that much life experience. So everybody take a deep breath, right? These guys that have been in the league 1 and 2 years are not the greatest of all time. It takes time. It takes experience to create that kind of skill set.
Yeah, slow your roll. Final thoughts. Get ready. Yeah. Get some emails out. Put your customer minds at ease. We'll see you next week. Winter's here, baby. Stay safe.